Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Infinite Crypto Cruisers. Hey there, folks. My name is Brad Varnell. This is the Infinite Crypto YouTube channel. Excited to have you on the show today. If you are a first-time viewer, welcome. And for those of you that have been around a while, you probably see this thumbnail sitting here and know exactly what I'm talking about. For those of you that don't, though, I am super excited. We finally got this scheduled. Probably been a month overdue. My wife keeps telling me she's going to kill me if I have a big Bitcoin redemption card in my pack. So what does this represent? Well, this represents a card break that I am going to do for a company called Cardsmith, which creates cryptocurrency trading cards, if you will. They do a lot of different series, but as you can see here, they basically create cryptocurrency trading cards similar to Pokemon cards, or even like Upper Deck baseball cards. They're holographic, and super high quality. And one of the things that they do is they have these redemption cards where when you win a Bitcoin or Ethereum Litecoin redemption coin, you scratch off the back of it and it reveals how much Bitcoin, Ethereum Litecoin, it reveals how much you have won, and there is the potential to win 1 Bitcoin. Also, one of the cool things is if you buy a case, which is a pack of 48, you're guaranteed at least 1 redemption card. So I know for sure that tomorrow night at 5 o'clock, when we go live tomorrow night at 5 p.m., that over the course of that next 30 minutes to an hour or so, that we will get a redemption card, scratch it off, and see what we have won. So it's going to be a very fun show. I'm hoping there's a lot of cards that you get some rare cards, some 1 of 1s, some 1 of 5, some 1 of 25. So there's a lot of cards that are very collectible. I actually have here in the description of this video a Reddit. And guys, I mean, for those of you that really haven't heard of this, there is a Reddit here where, I mean, there's a big retail market here, or a secondary market where you can list the cards and and sell these cards. There's a big market for these cards and being able to sell them. So I'm looking forward to cracking these open tomorrow night at 5 p.m. It is long overdue. And so I'm excited to be able to share that with you. Once again, it's here. You can, get notified. It's in 31 hours. So 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And looking forward to doing that. Other than that, I woke up this morning hoping to see some positive news in the market. And unfortunately, that doesn't look like what we got overnight. I went to bed with Bitcoin being at about 112.4, something like that. And I woke up to, well, it was 110 a second ago. It just clicked up to 111. So we got a little work to do. We were talking about this on the live stream yesterday, that we might be in for some more pain. And, I don't know if it's good news for us if we stay sideways, or range above 110, but never really break up towards 120, or if we got to be, the longer that we stay in this 110 to 113 range, the more we got to worry about this thing, doing something crazy on us. Let's run over. I'm kind of curious to see if old Crypto Lifer had anything to say. I noticed that Greg Nowak just popped onto the screen. Good morning, Greg. Were you on Crypto Lifers live stream by any chance? You got any insight? Does he feel like it's getting ready to head up? Is it getting ready to head down? What is it? What is he thinking we got going on today? Let me see here. This was last night. Let's get down. So Jerome is bullish is the thumbnail, but that doesn't mean anything. So he hasn't done an update. So right here, this is kind of, it says Bitcoin USDT. This is what the TA says will happen. And so if, if there's no guarantees, these are all probabilities, but this is what Sam Price had to say about the market at 6 a.m. today. And that draws a line all the way down to about 104,000. So we might want to be prepared for some misery today. What does that mean? Let's not panic, but maybe batten down the hatches a little bit. These trades that I was in yesterday that weren't, they weren't doing too bad. You can see this V-chain trade is now, negative. My Atom trade is still up 67%, and my DOT trade is still up 56%. But this was more like 250 going on. It was, at its peak, this was almost up $600. I mean, it's still up 224. But, maybe I should go ahead and close these out and trim these positions. I'm not 100% sure. Once again, folks, this is as good a time as any to say this isn't financial advice. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't want you guys to go, shut down all your trades, close everything out, and batten down the hatches, preparing for a big, monster storm that doesn't come. I'm just telling you what Sam... I'm just showing you what Sam said to his group, and I have a lot of respect for Sam, but he'll be the first person to tell you that there's always two different probabilities. There's always two different scenarios, one in which we can go lower and one in which we can go higher. And all we can do as human beings is take a look at the charts and determine which one is more probable. But guys, I mean, you got to be careful with these probabilities. Even if it's 80% to dump down to 104, 20% of the time happens a whole lot. Like if we were sitting out here in front of in front of my street, and I said, hey, if you run across the street, I'll give you $10,000, but there's a 20% chance you're going to get hit by a car and die, you'd be like, no, thank you. And I would hope that most of you, like, even if I told you, hey, I'll give you $10,000 to run across the street, and there's only a 1% chance that a car is going to come along and wipe you out, that you wouldn't take it, because even 1% is going to happen, 1 out of 100 times. But 20% is a bunch. It happens like, you play poker, and a lot of times the person that you're playing against, or even yourself, you will have around a 20 or 25% chance of them outdrawing you, or you outdrawing them, depending on the situation. And it happens over and over and over and over. So my point is, you make your own decision. You do what you feel is right for your timing, for your risk tolerance, for your family, and then take responsibility for that. Whether it ends up working out or doesn't work out, I don't want the blame or the credit. I'm just trying to give you guys some options. Let's go back here to the chat and see what we got going on here. We got Mr. Vanish Joy. I can't remember the last time he wasn't the first person to say hello. Good morning, Vanish. Good to see you. And then Mr. Tim G. Good afternoon, my friend. Hope you are doing fantastic, brother. Mr. Dave P. Also, I guess I should say, Vanish and Dave a lot of times are tied for first. A lot of times they are both in here good and early. I thought I saw Eric Bernstein. Yeah, there he is. We got Mr. Bernstein in the house. Good morning. I hope Mason and Reese are doing fantastic. Back in school, right? Back in school, doing amazing things. I tell you guys, if any of you need a realtor out in, I believe it's the Colorado area, get in touch with me and I will get you in touch with Eric. He is an incredible realtor out there, family man. I've had a chance to get to know him pretty darn well over the last couple of years. So if there's anybody out there in Colorado that needs a realtor, let me know and I will get you in touch with Mr. Eric Bernstein. Joseph089, good morning. Good morning. Hope you are doing. Dave says, so exciting. I think he's probably talking about the old card crack that I'm doing tomorrow. And then once again, we already said good morning to Greg. Hope you are doing fantastic. And then good morning also to Mr. John Lopez. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you guys are all doing fantastic. Let me go back out to this view here. I'm not liking all the redness in my face, so I don't want to be all puffed up and full screen anyways. But let's see what we got going on here. Bitcoin, we obviously saw, has gone down in the last 24 hours. What did that do to our precious altcoins? They're going down, but they're not going down horrible. We can see here Cardano. Well, I mean, 3.7%. If we're looking at 24 hours versus the last 1 hour, 3.7% is a decent little chunk to go down. Chainlink here is down 5%. So you're talking about, if you had opened a 10x leverage trade last night on Chainlink, you'd be down about 50% of your funds, and you'd be, 5% away from getting liquidated. Same thing, with Cardano, you'd be down 37%. So with these leverage trades, it can actually, it can literally, he's awake. Yeah. I don't know. I think he left the dogs outside, which is fine. So far, they're not bugging me. But anyways, the, like Stellar down 2.5%, Avalanche 3.7%. Hedera, man, I got to tell you guys, not financial advice, but I like the idea of getting in on a leverage trade on Hedera at 18 cents. So here I am talking about batting down the hatches. The other thing that I might do rather than batten down the hatches, if you wanted to be more aggressive, would be to do some leverage trading just on low leverage. And, what do I mean? Let me see here. If we take Hedera's price right now at 18 cents, we'll call it. Maybe if I get my calculator here on my phone. So if we go 0.18, and then what is it? So 0.8. Oh my gosh! Excuse me, guys. That
means you need your coffee.
Man, yeah, I'm tired. I need my coffee. Been waking up too late to run and get it before the live stream, so we've been waiting until it's over to go get the coffee. And today, I guess it's telling me that wasn't a good idea, but I'll be good. I don't remember the last time I yawned on a live stream, but anyways, so we're at 18.08. If we do a 3x leverage trade, we would get 33%. So times 33% is 0.059. So now if we take that and subtract 0.1808 equals, so a 3x leverage trade would have a liquidation point of about 12.11 cents. That seems like a relatively safe bet. Now, obviously, on Friday, on the 10th, when we had that weird capitulation, everything did worse than that. But I don't think that we're in a position where as many people would get liquidated and that we would have that same kind of crazy wick that would take things down, way lower than that. But if you wanted to be safe, aggressive but safe, if we now take 12.11 cents times 33%, that gives us another 3.99, basically 4 cents. So if you subtract from that 0.1211, that takes you all the way down to 8.11 cents. So with a 3x leverage and 3x ladder, you could get yourself all the way down to just over 8 cents would be your liquidation on Hedera. And I mean, there's no guarantees in life, but man, I definitely would be willing to bet on that probability. I would be willing to bet money that we're not going down below 8 cents on Hedera. Eric says, thanks, Brad. Really appreciate that. Yes, back at school again. Manish says, anyone watching COAI, the How To 282 Giga Chad. We got SZASXA. Man, that is a confusing thing to say. SZASXX. Good day, Brad. Good day to you. I'm going to just call you SZ from now on. You are now officially SZ. Welcome to the chat. Hope you are having a fantastic day. So the other thing that you guys might want to consider, I'm going to switch gears here in just a quick second, but, is buying some of these tokens spot. Like, take the one that you like. Like, I love Polkadot. I know a lot of you don't necessarily love Polkadot. I like Polkadot, especially because here in the United States, I can hold it on Coinbase and get, I forget if it's 10, 12% interest. Another one that I love, and one of the reasons that I love it, it's partially because I think it's going to be a good token around for a long time, and that it's going to do amazing price appreciation, is Atom. But the other reason that I like Atom over some other tokens, if I can find it here, where'd it go on me? While I'm here, oh, here it is. It's right. They're right next door to each other. Atom at $3.33 is a absolute steal, in my opinion, especially when you can buy it and stake it on Coinbase for almost 15% interest. And then I love some VeChain, and especially down here. These guys were all up in between 40 and 50 just a few days ago, and they've dropped all the way down to the 80s. So if you have some funds laying around, in my opinion, I think it would be a decent time to deploy them into some spot tokens. The nice thing about spot tokens is, even if we're wrong, even if, my crystal ball is broken today, and, Cosmos Hub goes down to $2.50, for a short period of time, goes down to $2 for a short time, it's going to bounce back up. And in my opinion, $3.33 or, less than 2 cents for VeChain is a great buy. Let me see here. The other thing that I wanted to bring up, hopefully I'm not giving away too much personal information here. I don't think so. I'm not really connected with many of you on Facebook. I'm not against that per se. Like, if you guys, request me on, request my friendship on Facebook, and I know who you are, and I look at your profile and you look like a legitimate person, I'll probably accept it. But that's not why I'm bringing this up. But I just wanted, you guys probably can't really see this either, but man, I was talking to a friend of mine that a few years ago, this gentleman and we had a bet. I can't really pull it up to where you guys can see, so I'll just tell you the story. We had a bet. We had a bet on what crypto was going to perform the best, and this was back in 2021. So he was on Facebook posting a bunch of stuff about Doge, and excuse me, man, this is like 2 or 3 days in a row that I've got this crazy like sticky substance. It's not phlegm. I'm not sick, but I've got this substance in the back of my throat that just keeps causing me to have trouble talking. Excuse me for a second. So I'm going to talk about not quitting. We've all heard it before, but long story short, 2021, this guy's on Facebook talking about Doge. This was back before the parachain auctions happened for Polkadot. And him and I, we made $1,000 cash bet. I bet him that Polkadot would perform better than the Doge token would. And because back then I really was not a fan of memes. I'm still not a big fan of memes, but back then I really wasn't a fan of the meme coins. And so I was almost certain that with the parachain auctions and everything that was going on, Doge had already ran up to like 73 cents and was back down to, I forget what it was back down to. But anyways, I told him that he shouldn't be telling everybody to buy Doge. And now it turned out that I was right. But I was also, compared to, Polkadot's price compared to what it was then today is not great either. So I wasn't all the way right. But my point is, I messaged him yesterday because I wanted to talk to him about Texit Coin. And he replies back. He's like, no, Brad, I haven't heard of it and I'm not interested in looking. He said, I've exited crypto permanently. And you won't be able to see this probably, but my response to that was, that's too bad. Exactly what the elite want to have happen. The only way to fail, the only way to fail to become wealthy in crypto is to quit. And he saw that message and he never responded to it. And I wasn't trying to be mean, but it's just a little bit heartbreaking sometimes when, you and I have all had family members and friends that we can't get into crypto at all. And that's sad too. But at least, they never had a chance. They never had an opportunity to create wealth in their life because they never got started. So while that is frustrating for me, I just kind of realized that it's not for everybody. You're not going to be able to get everybody involved in crypto. There's so many ways to create wealth in life. And so whether it's crypto or not, what makes me sad is the people that go through life never, ever, ever finding any type of financial success. And it's mindset. And it's the same mindset that keeps them from jumping into crypto that keeps them from being successful anywhere else too. But what really, really breaks my heart and what I hate is when I've got somebody involved in crypto and they're excited about it and they see the potential and they start buying crypto and then this happens. Now, this isn't one of my bestest friends in the world. We hadn't talked for years. But, we used to work with each other in a casino in Vegas. And I don't know what he's up to anymore. But it was just, man, it was sad to hear him say that he had exited crypto permanently. Because I just can't imagine that. No matter what they do, no matter how hard they try to shake me out, I know that blockchain technology and cryptocurrency is the future. And they can't get rid of me. You can't get rid of me. There's nothing that could happen. There's no amount of losses that I could take that would cause me to want to quit altogether. Rethink my strategy. Yeah. Change the way that I am investing potentially, but nothing that would cause me to just throw my rings in the glove and walk away, from the sport of crypto altogether. And it's, the reason that this was on my mind is because I've also, it's a couple of times that this has happened recently. So I got a friend that, was a really good crypto friend back in 2017, 2018. In fact, this friend of mine owned 3 Bitcoin. He owned 3 Bitcoin in 2018. And they were, when Bitcoin was worth about $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a piece, during that bear market, he owned 3. And get this, I forget the name of the guy, but they were like these Bitcoin gold tokens. They weren't made out of gold, but they had the private key like etched into the back of them. So they weren't even, so like they were fully wrapped, I think is the terminology for those of you that are a little bit newer in crypto and maybe haven't experienced this. Bitcoin Cash is like a fork of Bitcoin. And there's lots of different forks on some of these blockchains. Same thing like, I forget, all of a sudden, is it Ethereum Cash? Go back over here to let's go back over here to this view here, and go back up. I forget. So you got your regular Ethereum, and then, I think it's Ethereum Classic. Ethereum Classic. Where is Ethereum Classic? Ethereum Classic is around here somewhere, but Ethereum Classic is a fork of Bitcoin. So my point is, he owned these 3 unwrapped Bitcoin. So he had not only the Bitcoin, but he had all of the forks. When, long story short, guys, him and I knew each other in 2018. I stayed on the path and was able to quit my job in 2019 and haven't dealt poker since 2019. When I walked into the Venetian poker room a couple of weeks ago trying to win that 20 grand, he was there. And it was kind of a uncomfortable situation because while he acted like he was happy to see me, and he said hello, and he said, how you doing, and the general, pleasantries, I could tell while he was dealing that 30 minutes that I was there, his mind wasn't on the game. And I can't swear to it. I don't know for sure, but I think what was happening is he was beating himself up because, long story short, he got in a position where he decided selling the Bitcoin was more important in his life, having that $25,000. And he's another person that got out of crypto. And the reason that one really breaks my heart is because this other guy, I don't know how much crypto he even got. I know he was talking about Doge. He probably had bought a little bit of crypto, but he might have been really like a fair weather fan. But this other friend of mine that was working at the Venetian, we got together for lunch and he showed me how to use a ledger. He had a ledger. He had all his crypto on his hardware wallets, and, he owned these 3 Bitcoin, yet somehow the powers that be got him shaken out of the market. And as far as I know, he's all the way out of crypto now and still dealing poker. And it's kind of crazy to me that he, with his belief, with his knowledge, could get shaken out of the cryptocurrency industry. But it reminds me, one of the things that I love to say is that getting wealthy in crypto is simple, but it isn't easy. But I'm going to go back to the simple part real fast, folks, here. If you've got a pen and paper, write this down. Remind yourself of this. All you have to do to get wealthy in crypto is buy crypto on a consistent basis. Wealth is what's the word I'm looking for? Wealth is man, can't talk. I might as well take a drink, get rid of this sticky stuff. There we go. Right while the water was in my mouth, the word came to me. Wealth is subjective. So it's all a percentage. If you live in a country, third world country where you make $100 a month, if you save $10 of that and put it into crypto every single month for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, when crypto takes off, you're going to be wealthy for your country, for the financial situation that the citizens where you live are. if you live in America and you make $100,000 a year and you save, $10,000 a year, what is that? $850 a month. You save $850 a month and put it into the right crypto. Don't sell it. Don't try to time the market. I mean, literally, if you just had 850, you make 100 grand, you have $850 and it goes into Coinbase on automatic buys once a month, and you don't even look to see what the price is. You don't care. Could be up, could be down. You literally just invest $850 a month, 2, 3, 4, 5 years of investing. When crypto takes off, you are going to be wealthy compared to the $100,000 a year income that you have. If you make more money, if you make $250,000 a year, then you should be saving at least $25,000 a year. If you make $30,000 a year in America, you're living off of $2,500 a month, you should be saving and investing at least $250 a month. And I'm here to tell you, try to prove me wrong. Go buy $250 worth of Solana, XRP, Cardano, Polkadot, VeChain, Atom, Hedera. Go try to buy $250 worth of some of those top 50 tokens and not end up with a huge pile of money over the course of a handful of years. And there's some of you that are like, hey, Brad, you're full of crap. I've been doing this for 3 years and I ain't got a pile of money. Well, you ain't been in it for 5 years yet, so you still got a little bit of time. You might get lucky and catch it a little bit quicker. My first cycle, I jumped in right towards the peak of the 17-18 bull market. I got crushed off in 18. I got crushed off in 19. I got crushed off in most of 2020. So 3 years into my cryptocurrency journey, I was broke and crying to my dad that I thought I was going to be bankrupt. So once again, it's simple, but it's not easy. But it's the simplest thing in the world. Literally, if you guys, I like you guys. I love you guys. I want you watching my YouTube video, but let me put this back here on full screen so that I can say something to you. If you tired of watching YouTubers like me, and you're tired of spending hours and hours at night just, looking at charts and trying to figure out what the next awesome, shiny new altcoin is to buy, and you just want to enjoy your life and wake up rich in the next 5 years, like say by 2030, well, then just take 10% of your income, whatever that is, and then, along the way, try to increase your income. And, if you are one of those people that's making, $25,000, $30,000, $50,000 a year and can only afford a couple, $200 or $300 a month to invest, then I do recommend, trying to increase your income and increase your ability to invest. But even in that case, like literally, if you just don't want to think about crypto anymore, but you want to have a pile of money in 5 years, then just go download the Coinbase app, pick out 3, 4, 5, 10 projects that you like that are, close, like top tier projects. They don't have to be way, way, way down the rabbit chain, like I think one of the ones that I would love to do this with is Chainlink. I think Chainlink's going to be here for a lot of years, but you pick out whatever you want. Chainlink, Avalanche is another one that I think is going to be, around and amazing. Hedera potentially, like I mentioned earlier, if you want to go a little bit deeper down the rabbit hole, Polkadot, get some interest. Atom, get some interest. VeChain, these are tokens that I think are going to do that are very well over the next handful of years. Just you can go into Coinbase and you can set it up on the 15th of every month. Love you, son. Have a great day. It buys you $50 worth of VeChain, $50 worth of Atom, $50 worth of Polkadot, $50 worth of Avalanche, and $50 worth of Chainlink. Just invest, your 10% into whatever tokens you choose and do that without spending it, without touching it for the next 5 years, and you'll wake up with a pile of money. It's simple, but I'm telling you, it's not easy. because what's going to happen is in 3 months, you're going to have $750 in your account. And maybe, we've had some nice upswings. So you're going to have that 750 is maybe turned into $2,000. And guess what happens? You have a nail in your tire and you're stuck over on the side of the road, and you realize that your tires are bald and you need a brand new set of tires, and you and your wife, or, you and your significant other are discussing it, and you don't have any cash. You don't have any money. So what do? You decide, and I'm telling you, this is the wrong decision. You should walk to work. You should do whatever you got to do to not use that 2,000 in crypto. It might sound harsh, but I'm telling you, people that become extremely financially successful, it's because they have the discipline and the ability to get through these trials that life is going to throw at you. So, but what you do is you go spend $1,000 on some tires, and then you can justify it. Hey man, I needed new tires. I've got kids to drive to school. I've got a job to get to. I couldn't live without tires. And I'm not disagreeing with you. You need to get some tires. I agree. But I'm telling you, in my personal humble opinion, not financial advice, disagree with me all you want. Don't listen to me. I don't care. In my opinion, the second you go and spend that $1,000 on those tires out of your cryptocurrency financial freedom fund, you've lost. You're not going to be financially free in 5 years. Now, there's some possibility that you could learn very, very quickly from that mistake and never make it again and still get to where you want to be. But I can tell you this, if the nail in the tire and needing a new set of tires causes you to spend your cryptocurrency investment, then the next thing that's going to happen is you or your spouse, somebody's going to, lose their job. They're going to get laid off, and you're going to be lower on funds for a month or two while you're getting back on your feet, and you're going to go spend your crypto money. And I'm here to tell you, yeah, it'll be cool if you got $5,000, $10,000 built up in crypto, and that happens. It's so easy to say, oh man, I'm so glad that I've been investing this $250, $500 every single month, and that I have this $10,000. What a blessing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm telling you, that's not what it's for. You got to figure something else out. You're like, well, what do I do, Brad? My landlord ain't taking an IOU. What do I do, Brad? I'm not going to not make my house payments and get foreclosed on. I'm here to tell you that where there's a will, there's a way. If for some reason you didn't have that $10,000 in crypto saved up, you would figure it out. You would not end up homeless. So quit thinking that you will. Quit panicking and selling your life draft. Quit panicking and selling your future for a problem that is happening today. So once again, I go back to getting rich in crypto, getting wealthy in crypto is subjective. It's going to be a different number for everybody, but every single person here can do it. And you can do it on autopilot, and you can do it without watching Brad Varnell on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and you can do it without watching Crypto Lifer. You can do it without watching anybody if you just have the discipline to save 10% or so of your income every single week, every single month, and never, ever touch it. So, guys, I'm not going to pick on my buddy Eric Bernstein here, but we were talking about him earlier. He's a realtor. I don't remember exactly how old Eric is, but I'm guessing mid 30s is what I'm thinking. So let's say I'm wrong. I think Eric say around 35, but let's say that he's 40. Would it be the worst thing in the world if all Eric did was save 10% of all of the money that he made? And heaven forbid that 2030 rolled around and he wasn't where he wanted to be yet. So he just did it for, 5 more years. So the poor fellow has to wait till he's 45 years old to be extremely, wealthy and have enough money to be able to live the life that he wants to live. 10 years. Guys, most of us here in the United States, I can't speak for other countries, but most of us become adults at 18, 19, no, 20 years old. If you're going to college, 22 years old, and then you're taught to get a job, and then you have to work for 40 plus years. In fact, they just changed it for people younger than me. They can't take their full Social Security benefits now until they're 66. So it used to be 65. They just raised it up to 66. But you work, say, from 22 years old to 66 years old, 44 years for some other man doing something that 85% of the world hates their job. It's crazy. 85% statistically do not like their job. And yet they have to go spend a third of their life, and really more like half of their life at it, right? Because you sleep for 8. And so you really only have 16 hours a day that you can kind of do what you want to do with. And 85% of the population is choosing to do something that they hate to do for 40 plus years of their life. Now they wake up at 66 years old, and in a lot of cases, they still don't have enough money to financially really live any type of a high quality life. And if they're lucky, they're going to live 10, maybe 15 more years. And it's not going to be the highest quality years. Like, I can tell you already at 52 years old that I'm glad that I went to the Bahamas and did some of the things that I did when I was still in my 40s. Don't get me wrong, I'm still in plenty good shape to go enjoy things. But I'm telling you, there's a difference between going someplace when you're 35, 40, and your kids are young and you can still run around. And, like my dad went to the Bahamas less than a year before he passed away. So I think he was already 81. It was like October, November before he passed away. So he's like 81 and a half. And man, he enjoyed the heck out of it. He was out there snorkeling, but he couldn't go out as deep as me because he got winded too fast, and he wanted to be able to have his feet underneath him fairly quickly. So there's a couple of areas where I was able to swim way out and snorkel, and he wasn't able to. We were in San Diego a couple years ago, and he got wiped out by some waves. So we used to love walking out into the waves, and the Pacific Ocean on the California coast. The waves hit you hard, but it's fun. But he got, he was old enough to where he got to where he didn't enjoy it anymore. He was getting beat up by the waves, and he just wanted to go back in. And it was kind of funny afterwards, but it wasn't funny in the moment. He's walking back up to get onto the beach, and this beach has a little bit of a steep slope. And as he was started to head up it, the water came in really hard and just knocked him ass over tea kettle. He's floundering, and I was kind of behind him, and I end up falling down too. So here we are, if you can imagine. We both have our feet pointed right towards the beach. Like, my mom and people that were on the beach are like right in front of us. Our feet are pointed directly towards the beach. But this water's coming in, and it's bringing us up kind of halfway up the slope, and then it's bringing us back out. And I'm trying to get my footing so that I can help my dad get his footing. Both of us are keeping our heads above water. But at the same time, my point is, yeah, my dad got to experience some incredible things the last few years of his life because of crypto and some of the things that we were doing. But I'm telling you, my dad would have been able to enjoy that stuff so much more at 40 years old. I told you guys how when I was young, our idea of a vacation was loading up his pickup truck and going camping for the weekend. I never got to go to Disneyland or Disney World or, I still have never been to Hawaii in my life. I love the Bahamas, and that's why I've been to the Bahamas several times in the last few years, but I've never been to Hawaii. My mom grew up in Key West, Florida. She was born and raised in Florida. I never was in Florida one time in my life until 3-4 years ago for a Bitcoin conference that was on Miami Beach. My point is, those things would have been cool to do with my parents when I was a kid, when they were young enough to really enjoy them. So my point is, guys, even if you're 10 years away from massive wealth, compared to the price that you're going to pay to not create that wealth and just be, working for somebody else until you're 60, 70 years old. That's something else that a lot of people don't quit working at 66 because they can't afford to retire. So how many of you guys are, seeing Walmart greeters and people in your local businesses that are more like 70, 75 years old that are working? I guarantee you there may be one or two here and there that do it because it gives them something to do. But for the most part, it's because they need the money. Like, yeah, it might double as giving them something to do, but believe me, if they were rich, they'd be able to find things to do other than be a Walmart greeter. The reason that they want to be a Walmart greeter is because they're broke. And yeah, it gives them something to do, but it also, that extra couple hundred a week makes a huge difference in their life because they're living off of Social Security. So I don't know any wealthy people that are in their 70s that choose to work at McDonald's or Safeway or Walmart or someplace like that just so that they have something to do. That's crazy. Like, you could go on cruises for a couple weeks of the month, singles cruises, and have a heck of a lot of fun and meet a lot of people and stay busy if you had the money. So don't let people fool you. If an older person tells you that they're working just because they need something to do, you don't have to tell them, hey, you're lying. But in the back of your mind, you know that they never made it financially and they are working because they need the money, and that a nice byproduct of that is that it gets them out of the house and gets them, with other people. So all of that to say, getting rich in crypto is simple, but it isn't easy. And the not easy, it's, like, you guys ever see the movie Frogger or the game Frogger? It kind of, crypto reminds me in a way of like that game Frogger a little bit, where, man, you're on one side of the river and you have to go across the river, and there's crocodiles and there's snakes, there's scorpions, like there's all sorts of stuff in the river floating by, and you kind of have to jump. You have to time it. You got to jump onto, man, I'm dating myself. I wonder if I pull up Frogger, what will pop up here? Frogger video game. Yeah, let's see what this, like, you guys, this is crazy. Like, see, this is like such a small little piece of it, and it was like an old 1978 or something like that Atari game. But like, literally, you had to get across the river without dying. And it was pretty simple, but it wasn't easy because there was obstacles. So in your crypto journey, there's going to be a lot of obstacles. There's going to be unexpected expenses. There's going to be expected expenses. There's going to be times where you want to spend the money that you've built up because you deserve it. And that's a whole, like another, I'm going to try not to talk about this forever, but that's a whole nother issue. But, the other thing that I see people do is they will be on the road. They'll have, $100,000 crypto portfolio, and they'll decide that they need a new house or a new car. And all of a sudden, 100 grand goes for a down payment, and they justify it by saying, well, man, I live in America. I work hard. I deserve to own a home. Yeah, I want you to own a home. But if you can't afford to own a home, then you don't deserve to own a home yet. And guys, I'm here to tell you that if you take that 100 grand and you put it into a down payment for a home, you're killing the babies. They say in money, you have your money makes money. When your money makes money, it's like it's making children, and then your children make children, and your children's make children. The way that you get wealthy in crypto is compounding, whether it's compounding from cycle to cycle or just compounding, like with my Atom token. If I have it in Coinbase staked at 15%, that means roughly, every 5 years, it's doubling. So if I have 1,000 Atom right now, it's going to double to 2,000 in 5 years. But the other crazy part about it, of course, if I'm still buying at them all the way along the way, there's that compounding effect. But anyways, back to the pitfall. So you're going to have the nail in the tire pitfall. You're going to have the we deserve it, and we're tired of driving this old car, and we want to go get a car and have a car payment. And not only do you use up some of your crypto money for a down payment, but all of a sudden, that $250 or $500 a month that you were putting into crypto, all of a sudden you've got this new $500 a month car payment, and you're making the car payment instead. So there's a lot of pitfalls. Once again, it's simple, but it isn't easy. And so, guys, you really have to have a lot of discipline, a lot of willpower, a lot of fortitude to stick with your plan. But I promise you, every one of you watching this probably has a plan. And all you got to do is execute it. All you got to do is stick to the plan, and you will end up at the spot that you want to on, on this journey. SZ says, I got liquidated. It is what it is. It's a whale's market, but if anyone held spots since you started streaming about crypto, they should be up. Leveraging isn't for everyone. Amen to that. Amen to that. I would say that leveraging isn't for about 90 to 95% of the people out there. To be brutally honest, I like to trade. I enjoy my Tuesday traders, but, full transparency, that is my catchphrase. I was telling you guys the other day, everybody's got a catchphrase. Maybe full transparency is mine. I need to get a t-shirt that says infinite crypto, full transparency. But full transparency, I was actually talking with my wife a couple of weeks ago and thinking about deleting the trader channel from my repertoire, because I'm really not sure how much that is helping you guys create wealth. And there's probably some of you that would be doing better off in crypto if you weren't trading. And as I mentioned yesterday on the Trader Tuesday live stream, I don't think it's added a whole lot of money to my life either. Now, I still do have the belief that when we really catch the next boom and Bitcoin runs up to 150, 175, 200, that it's going to make some pretty big gains in my life. And I also believe that once we catch that top and it feels like we're headed back down into a bull market, I'm really looking forward. I'm looking more forward to shorting the market all the way down than I am trying to time it and long it on the way up. But my point is like, I literally I'm going back and forth. I still haven't made a decision yet. I do enjoy the Trader Tuesday live stream in a lot of ways, but there's also a lot of things that I've been thinking about getting rid of it. And one of those is just like, as Z says, leveraging isn't for everyone. John Lopez, DCA mindset. I mean, dollar cost average. If you don't know what dollar cost averaging is, go Google it. But it's really literally one of the simplest ways to create massive wealth, especially in crypto. The thing I don't like about dollar cost averaging, like in the stock market, is that you're still on that 30 or 40 year path to being able to retire. Like most people that are building up a 401k or that are investing in the stock market, they're not going to get to a big enough number to retire until they're in their 60s and 70s still. Now, yes, the person that bought stocks their whole life and dollar cost averaged and put money into their 401k is going to be way, way, way better off than the person that didn't. But the biggest thing for me is the speed. Like, I don't want you guys to be financially independent when you're 70. I mean, yeah, that's fantastic. And if that's what ends up happening, that's better than the alternative. But like I was just talking about Eric and different people, like, I want you guys to be financially independent, free while you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, so that you can really enjoy your life. And I don't believe that you're going to do that in the stock market, especially if you're investing in some of the more bluer chip companies. Yes, you can get some great gains, but you're not going to 25, 50, 100x your portfolio over the course of 5 years, even 10 years probably. So, but dollar cost averaging in crypto is the secret sauce. Tim says, if the journey was going to be easy, everyone would be on it. The pathway is changing because people were given the newcomers the blueprint. So the elites got to alter the path and shake out the weak ones. Yeah, absolutely. There's very, very much a huge amount of truth in that for sure. And then SZ once again says, yes, DCA, best thing to do is buy $20 every time there is a big dip. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today. We've been rambling on for almost an hour. Once again, set your timers, set your clocks, get on here and hit the notify me button and get ready for an incredible Cardsmith card break. We're going to be doing some massive giveaways, so invite your friends and family to watch. I'll announce that tomorrow when we start the stream. But we're going to do some giveaways. I'm even going to, potentially give away a little bit of the redemption card. I'm still formulating the plan for that. Like, obviously, if I win, a $25 redemption card, there's not much I can do. But I'm trying to figure out, like, what I want to do for you guys. Let's say I get lucky and I hit something for $1,000 or $10,000 or I get somehow miraculously, I've got a, $110,000 Bitcoin redemption card that I crack open tomorrow. I want to do something special for you guys. So on top of that, I'm planning on taking some of the cards and letting you guys, potentially sending some of the cards to you guys. So, I'll have to get your address and be able to mail something to you. But if there's a card that I open up, I'm not, if I get a card that's worth $1,000, I'm not just giving it away. But, if I get a card that's worth $5, $10, $25 or something like that, and it's something that you really like, the artwork stands out to you and stuff like that, I'm going to be open to sending out some of the cards to you guys. And then, like I say, if I do happen to hit something substantial, I definitely want to share that with my community. So I look forward to seeing you all on there tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. In the in-between time, go have yourself an amazing, fantastic Wednesday. Be blessed. Go do something nice for somebody else. And we'll see you tomorrow. God bless. I love you all. Thank you for being here today.